Hi everybody, it's Amanda. How are you doing? It is the 24th of September 2019, so we're just past the equinox energies, although very much feels that we are still in them. So I hope that you had a good equinox. It was personally for me, it felt a very heavy day yesterday in terms of the energy here in the UK. We've got a whole week of stormy weather and rain, which has kicked in. Cloudy skies, it's a lot cooler than it was a couple of days ago. And it's been a bit of a shock to the system, very much as though the seasons have just clicked like that. And I was just observing my feelings around that. I'm going to say a little bit about that. But I'm very much aware that some of you watching have obviously just gone through spring equinox. So you'll be having, maybe, hopefully, brighter days coming, warmer weather, and heralding in summer eventually. So, but we're all connected and we all sort of just go through this amazing circle, don't we, of life generally, but also of the seasons. And I actually love that as a YouTube community on here, which is just past 40,000, thank you so much. I have to say that because I forget to thank you a lot of the time, but I do appreciate everybody that tunes in. And as somebody that's never actually, I never go on about, please like, subscribe, anything like that on my channel. So the fact that it's grown organically up to 40,000 is just brilliant. So thank you. But I love the fact that we are all dotted around the globe and that we are all holding all of the different seasons between us. But yeah, just to say, there's something been triggered today with regard to the changing weather here in the UK, which has surprised me a little bit. I was sitting with it all of yesterday, not quite understanding what I was feeling and sensing, linked into this sudden rain that's happening. And I'm realising there is an Atlantean memory, I think, coming up, as well as a message. I'm wanting to almost say a message from our higher selves who lived through the Atlantean times, almost like a message from the past, which is now for the present. That's what it feels like. Because I suspect a lot of us, including myself, had an Atlantean life. And there, of course, were many different stages of the Atlantean timeline. So you might have lived during the golden time of Atlantis, where all was good and well. Or you might have been there towards the end when you witnessed its downfall and its eventual demise via water. I know that I was definitely there towards the latter part of it. But it's interesting because I feel as though we're only now just starting to understand timelines and time hops. And the fact that we can be sitting here in 2019, very present in our everyday life, but yet there are parallel lives that are also going on, that other parts of our multi-dimensional self are experiencing. So I'm being shown that in Atlantis, many of us were able to experience different parts of its history. So it wasn't just one couple of decades or 70 years or however long you lived. It was a number of different points upon that whole civilization's timeline. Interesting what maybe you've identified with more strongly. I've always identified more with the latter part. And indeed, I have karma left over from that, I know, linked into my own family. My youngest daughter, from a very young age, probably about the age of 3 or 4, remembers drowning and me not saving her, basically. I saved myself. And that's something that's quite hard to come to terms with. But it will be healed in this lifetime, and there will be a moment where we're able to talk about that and deal with it. I have no doubt about that. It doesn't worry me. But yeah, a lot of us have memories of sort of drowning, basically. and or saving ourselves at the expense of other people. And what's happened over the last couple of days here, as I say, these rains kicked in. And this doesn't feel like rain that we ever used to have. I mean, I'm sure many of you might say the same thing in your own countries. It's as though, and I think this is linked to the climate crisis, it's as though when the rains come, they are torrential in nature, almost like the type of rain that you typically would associate with like a rainforest or a more tropical area where you do just get drenched from head to toe. Well, my memories of rain, and I don't think they're wrong, decades ago, was that it used to be more gentle. Now it is literally just like a sheet of water coming down. We've just had one. It's just passed, but there'll be another one coming in a moment, another wave of it coming in a moment. And what I experienced within myself, it was my body. It was like my physical body had a reaction to it, which I was just really interested by, was a rising sense of panic when the rain started yesterday. Now, we haven't had a lot of rain over the summer. It's been quite dry. It's been quite a nice summer, quite warm, lots of time to be able to sit out in nature. And of course, winter goes on for a long time here. So at first I thought, oh, maybe you're just feeling panicky because it's the start of winter. There's a lot of cold months ahead. You know, you've just got to adjust to it. Like all animals have to adjust to different environments. There's also a lot of talk about climate crisis at the moment. So I thought maybe you're tuning into that. I thought, no, it's not. It's something deeper than that. So I just sat here and I linked into, firstly, Archangel Metatron. But then it was as though a lot of the angels came in. Gabriel came in and Uriel. But it was Gabriel in particular that gave me the information linked, that this is linked into a memory. It's like a memory that your body's holding of the rising panic linked to the fall of Atlantis and the whole energy of water there, being swallowed, being engulfed by the water. Now, in a video I did only last week or a couple of weeks ago, I think Metatron showed us a vision of the globe, the Earth, being covered in water again. Now, this doesn't feel cataclysmic in terms of, the end of the world or anything like that. It's more about a rebirth. He's actually saying it's more like a baptism for new Earth. I think I used the word baptism in the last video, so he's giving me that again. But when I saw these rains coming, as I say, my physical body went into a panic response, almost as though my heart started to beat quicker. My breathing became more shallow. That's what the body does, basically, when it goes into an instinctive fight or flight mechanism. But I was in no danger. There are no floods happening here. It's just a rainstorm. Why suddenly am I reacting like that? It's linked back to this past life memory. So what I've done is I asked Gabriel for some confirmation on it, and I've pulled some cards. I pulled the cards off camera because I was wanting to know where this was all going. I've still got them laid out here, and I'm going to take you through what they are, because actually they're very beautiful. And it's like anything. Archangel Metatron, I'm going to weave Metatron and Gabriel into this. Metatron always teaches us that we have to let go of our stories. That's very much what I teach within my level 1 training work, that you have to let go of your story or not your story. And it's true for the world as well. What's happened to the world? There have been many stories, there have been many events that have happened upon it. We have experienced those events, we've been part of those stories. But yet the Earth isn't identified just by any one story or any one time. And she, like us, in fact, it's so perfect, she, like us, is wanting to remove the story from within her. Those of you that have done the Metatron work with me know exactly what I'm talking about here. Pippa Merivale, who was my original teacher when I was attuned to Metatron in 2007, the first words he said to her was, Metatron, remove the story from the body. And I've been following through with that work, doing it in my own way, but those words have always stayed ever since. And it's always been about removing the story from our physical body. Well, what the earth is now saying is, hey, I have a body as well. I am a living consciousness. I am a living energy, but yet I also am the shape that you know me to be. Let me get my world, hold on. I think this needs to be a regular feature on my desk, actually, because I keep reaching for this in virtually every video. I have this shape. You know that I look this way. But yet within me, there are all of these stories that need to be released. And if you actually look at the globe here, okay, what strikes you about it? To me, what strikes me is how much water is dotted everywhere around our planet. It's called the blue planet for a reason, okay? Look at how much water actually covers our beautiful planet Earth. You know, we identify with particular countries, and here we've got Canada, okay? And it's like it's taking up a lot of we think it takes up a lot of the Earth space. Russia over here, big countries, China. But actually, look at what the most dominant element is in our Earth. It's the element of water. And so therefore we know, because Dr Masaru Emoto has taught us very well, that water carries memory. And we can implant into that water new vibrations of love, peace, forgiveness. But equally, we also need to cleanse the water. So I feel that this water that I was seeing in the original channeling a few weeks ago, when I saw the world surrounded by water, it wasn't so much about, you know, the caps have to melt and we're all deluged and, you know, there's this enormous flood. There may still be a little bit of that goes on. I'm not saying that I'm dismissing that as a possible timeline. But more than anything, what I'm linking into today is that all of these waters need to be cleansed. And we can all do our bit. Dr. Emoto taught us that we can all do our bit by going to our local stream, by going to our local river, the sea, the lake, wherever we are, as well as also linking into the water in our own body and imbuing it with what he's saying now are qualities of new earth, the fifth dimensional frequencies of love. In fact, it all boils down to love. The first card that came out is the Ace of Cups. And I looked at it and I thought, oh, okay, Ace of Cups. That wasn't sort of I don't know what I expected to see. The question was more about, why am I feeling the sense of panic? Why am I feeling the sense of panic with all this rain, with all this water? What's going on? That was the question I asked the cards. And I got the Ace of Cups. And the Ace of Cups links into love. It's the ultimate offering of love. It's the cup that overfloweth. It's the cup that passeth understanding, as Christ said, okay? And here we've got a cup that is just overflowing with water, the energy of water. And what was coming to me was that water represents our emotions. And what we're being asked to do here is hold the highest vibration that we can, the highest emotion that we can, whether that be joy, whether that be love, whether that be forgiveness, whether that be compassion, whether that be courage, whether that be strength, whatever the quality is that you feel that you need at this time, try to hold that vibration, try to hold that emotion and hold it to such a degree that it feels almost as though you can't hold any more of it, that you're going to burst with love, that you're going to burst with the energy of courage, that you're going to burst with the energy of strength, that you're going to burst with the energy of gentleness, that you're going to burst with the energy of light, literally until you overflow. And what I mean by that is that you hold it within you to such an extent that it seeps out of your pores, it seeps out of your skin, your eyes, it flows into your aura, and then it touches every single thing, every single being that you connect with, that you meet, that you experience, that you link to online as well. It's not just in terms of the physical world, it's the virtual world. What came next was the Queen of Cups, which was just sort of really confirming to me anyway that, yeah, this is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with the energies of embodying the divine feminine to such an extent that it is overwhelming, hence the panic, the rain, the water, the panic. It's as though we've never experienced the amount of love and the amount of beauty and the amount of fifth dimensional consciousness that is available to us now. Despite everything else that's going on in the world, despite the darkness that's out there, Gabriel very clearly showed me, as Metatron has showed me, the wrecking ball, okay, doing its thing. And what Gabriel said to me, which was quite interesting, is Gabriel is very sort of unisexual, I always feel. I never want to just say he for Gabriel. I'm looking up at the sky and seeing beautiful clouds as I'm talking about Gabriel. But Gabriel showed me the wrecking ball, and what he showed me, she showed me, was the fact that this wrecking ball is actually doing quite a lot of damage to things that need to be dismantled. It really is having an impact. And what Gabriel says is just get away from the, I've written it down, just get away from the shrapnel. That's what it's like. There's a bit of shrapnel damage that's happening at the moment. And you can ask to be protected from that, okay? So don't get too much into all of the darkness. Just concentrate on the light, concentrate on the love. And it is actually overwhelming. I'm actually wanting to say it's like a tsunami of love that wants to come into our planet, that's actually here. It's almost, what I'm being shown here now is it's as though Spirit have been holding it back for some reason, because we haven't actually been able up to this point to be able to hold it, to believe in it, to integrate it. And you might think, well, why would we do that? But take it down into your individual lives. How many of us struggle to love ourselves? How many of us struggle to truly extend a genuine hand of friendship without any strings attached, you know, in terms of what do I get from the friendship? Unconditional love, basically. How many people can really love their enemy as much as the one who does love them, you know, the teachings of Christ. And so we've always had a long way to go in truly embodying the energies of love within us. And that's okay. We're doing okay. We're carrying on. We're doing what we can. But yet there is this big tidal wave, this tsunami of love, I want to call it, which wants to come in via the energy of water to take us to the next level. And I really feel it's coming. I really feel it's coming. The next card that came out was the Two of Coins, which shows, interestingly, a hand coming up from the water. And remember, the Two of Coins, the Two of Pentacles, is a card which represents earth. So it's quite interesting that in this deck, which is called the Fountain Tarot, just realised I'm using the Fountain Tarot, which feels very watery as well, fountains with all the beautiful water that comes out of them. Within this deck, we've got the hand coming up from water, and we've got a choice. Two choices there, represented by the Two Pentacles. And I'm feeling as though I want to say it's a choice between money and materialism, and this energy here, which is linked into new earth qualities of love. It's a different form of currency. Interesting, isn't it? You know, talking about currency resets, financial resets, I've mentioned it myself. But what I'm feeling today, just sitting here, is it's as though the new currency that we prize above everything else is going to be linked into how much do you do, how much do you do to help others, how much do you do to serve the greater good, how much do you do to live your life based upon the best principles that you can, how much do you do to help your fellow man. That's what it feels as though that's what it's saying. And then the last card on the bottom of the deck, just summing everything up, we've got the King of Cups. So can you feel all this watery energy? We've got the Ace of Cups, the King of Cups, the Queen of Cups, and we've got the Two of Coins, as I say, which is traditionally, well, it's an earth card, but it's got a depiction of water and this hand coming out saying, your choice, which do you choose? Money or love? I mean, they're not mutually exclusive, of course. It doesn't mean that you can't have both. But I'm talking about the overall energy on our planet. Certainly for, you know, hundreds and hundreds of years, it's been very much about materialism. And it just feels as though there's a new energy wanting to come in, and it will come in, but it's as though this tsunami of love linked into the element of water brings it into a reality. But it's triggering past life memories of when we were last deluged, okay? Linked into the Atlantean energy. So I'm going to look at that now. I'm going to pull a couple of cards for the Atlantean memory that's coming up. I will also say before I do that, that what we're moving away from is the Five of Cups energy, which I also drew. That was another card, okay? So it's like we're moving away from this energy of lack, of feeling unsupported, of feeling hopeless, of feeling unappreciated, unloved, unlovable. And we're stepping into these frequencies of love. You know, truly love is all there is. All you need is love. Linking very nicely into the George Harrison work that I did last week, which is still very present around me, that he definitely brought in. I think he was almost like one of the harbingers here for me to be talking in this way about the element of water and emotion and love, and the need for that more now than ever. Almost as though we've come to the end of a particular junction, the end of a particular page of a story in our world, which was all about, you know, the dollar, the pound, the what can I get, how can I get it, climbing the greasy pole, all of that stuff that I've talked about in other videos. So it's actually very beautiful. So let's link into a message from our higher selves, okay? This is the message from our higher selves, that it's almost as though it's like a time capsule. That's what I'm being shown. It's like a time capsule that we're going to open. This is a message from our higher selves at the fall of the Atlantean era for us to hear it now. In this moment in history, 2019 going into 2020, 2020 is figuring very large. This feels like a message, this video. It's going to... Metatron saying it's going to ring down the ages. It's going to be applicable not just for now, not just for post-equinox in 2019. It's going to be a message carrying into 2020. But this is also a message that you need to understand is from you. It's from your higher self, okay? Opening the time capsule, what you said, it's almost like, I don't know what the message is. So let's just have a look at what it is. And what I'm going to use as a tool here is this deck, which is Art Through the Eyes of the Soul Oracle, okay, which has a very mythic theme. I'm just reading the lady's biography on the back. Cheryl Yambrach Rose is the lady's name who made this deck, and she lives and works in Glastonbury. Okay, I just feel drawn to use this one. But I'm going to spray the element of water, the water elemental. Okay, this is one of the Metatron sprays that we use. I've actually put it's not moving, I've put a shell into mine. You see, I've got a little shell. I do live near the beach. I did clean it, of course, before I put it in there. Right. It's blocked. It's not coming out. What a surprise. I told you they were holding it back. Holding back this tsunami, this wave. Let's just change the pump. Okay. Water. What was the message that we needed to hear or remember from the fall of Atlantis? What was the message that we needed to remember now from the fall of Atlantis? What was the message that we needed to hear from the fall of Atlantis? Wow, look at that. It says shifts happen, stabilize your energy fields. On the bottom of the deck, Have hope for the future. New energies are coming in. And this is linked into the starseed children. Okay? Have hope for the future. New energies are coming in. But let's look at this one first. It is. That looks very much like the symbol of the Vesica Pisces, which we used to have on our Christ spray. Okay. Don't know if you can see that with the reflection from my camera. Let me get a depiction of the Vesica Pisces out. Hold on. Got a sacred geometry book here. Now, let's just grab it. Hold on. It feels very important. Okay. Got it. Vesica Pisces. Can you see we've got here as well? Got the shape of the Vesica Pisces. This is like a male energy. The heart in the colours of turquoise, aquamarine, watery, the earth bathed in the watery element. Metatrons are telling me to just read about the Vesica Pisces for those that don't know. For those of you that do know, it's a good refresher, because what the Vesica Pisces represents is the birth portal. It represents creation. It's the interpenetration of two circles or spheres representing two holes, and it becomes a birth portal. It's the birthing place where people and ideas join in mutual understanding and common ground. Okay, what I'm being told here is that, let's get it right, old 3D Earth, new 5D Earth, birthing canal. This is all also linked to female anatomy, okay? It's the place where the baby comes out of. Those of us, women that are giving birth, this is the crowning, the dilation from whatever it is, 1 to 12 centimetres, can't remember now. The dilation that has to happen, the expansion for the baby to be pushed through the birth canal. It's the same with Gaia. We've got 3D Earth, 5D Earth, we've got the birth canal. When I say this is 5D Earth, what I mean is that's established 5D Earth. This is 5D Earth that's emerging from the birth canal, okay? So what we're being reminded of from our Atlantean times is that shifts happen in every age. And you might not be able to see, but this card also talks about divine intervention. Oh, sorry, there, it says divine intervention. Divine intervention comes in to ensure that we are where we're meant to be in any age, in any era, that we do move on. Now look what's underneath the earth being birthed. Can you see that? We've got the cup. We've got the cup. The Holy Grail. We've got the cup. We've got the cup on it has got a, I think it's the flower of life. It's the flower of life or the seed of life, basically. Okay, it's creation energies coming in. It couldn't be any clearer. It's confirming what I've been saying, basically. And then with that, we've got new hope for the future. New energies are coming in. So many crystal kids arriving at this moment in time. I mean, I don't even want to call them crystal kids. We need a new name. I mean, I think was it Doreen that came up with crystal kids? So, I mean, respect to the work she did there, but I do think we need a new name coming in. I think we'll have to ask Metatron about that another day. But, they're called Starseeds on this card. So the Starseeds are coming in. And these kids coming in also have got the Atlantean memory. Like my daughter, I was telling you about my daughter, And she's come back, even though I let her drown in a previous life. I let her drown in the Atlantean lifetime. So, and they know how to swim. Look at that little baby. Looks a bit like my little girl, actually, when she was born. My girl was born in water, you know? And look at that. Look how precious that child is, swimming. And they're coming in to teach us. How lucky are we? And don't be triggered by that. There's a few people that have been triggered when I've been saying about the starseeds recently. I feel almost as though it seems to bring up some ego in some people, and maybe it does. I don't know. It seems to be an ego thing, which is like us needing a pat on the back that, well, hold on, but we've done lots of work as well. You know, we've done lots of work as well. You know, it's not just about the kids. Spiritual beings, we don't need to be getting those pats on the back, you know. It's, yes, we've done our work, hopefully we'll do more work, but it's about the energy of the heart is just about appreciating the beauty in everything, appreciating the beauty in what you've done to help and contribute, but being in awe of these new souls that are coming in as well, who actually are coming in with a lot less ego as well. I feel a lot less ego. So stunning. Must just take this next card from the bottom of the pack, which I hadn't seen. I'm seeing it now. Just talking about the young people. Look at that. Can you see the suns coming out after that huge rainstorm? And I was feeling the panic. Literally, the water was running down our road in like a great big river. It was like, whoa, what is going on? Can you see the sun now? How wonderful. Look at this. I was just talking about the young people, and it says, break free and regain your youth and fly. So it's as though these starseed kids, they are helping us to feel youthful as well, to be inspired. I was, just before I came on, I was just having a quick look at my Facebook feed, and in fact, it was Greta's Facebook page, Greta Thunberg. And there's somebody had put a video from the UK of this 91-year-old man who went to the Extinction Rebellion or Rebellion Extinction March, I think in Dover, a few weeks ago, wasn't sure what time period it was. And basically he's arrested as they're interviewing him. And what he says is so beautiful, because he basically says that how he loves to see the youth out on the streets. He loves to see the passion of young people who are trying. And he's saying, and that's why I needed to be with them today. And he's surrounded by these young people, and he's 91. And, you know, he's very articulate, well-spoken. And he's like, I have to be there because, you know, I'm representing my generation as well. But you can feel that his passion's been ignited again by this youth movement, basically. So it's very beautiful. And I think that's what that is. Break free, regain your youth and fly. That's what young people are meant to do. They're meant to take up the reins again. They're meant to have the passion and the enthusiasm that as you get older, you get a bit jaded. You've been around the block a few times. Things haven't worked out. You see the state of the world. You get to a point where you think, is it ever going to change? That's why the youngsters come in. It's like they come in with fresh eyes, fresh enthusiasm. Let's get behind them is what I say. So anything else to say on that card, Metatron? Break free, regain your youth and fly. Oh, okay, that's nice. Talking about love. You know, when you first fell in love, do you remember the first time you ever fell in love, or the first time you fell in love really passionately, and how amazing that makes you feel? Do you remember not being able to eat your food? And not that's necessarily a good thing, but just that whole first flash of romance and flash of romance, flash of love. And typically it usually happens when we're younger. That's why I'm tying it to youth, but it can happen, of course, at any time. But again, it's this thing about all these energies of love that want to come in. It's almost as though they make us excited for life again. You know, it's like we get, our appetite is whetted again. It's like, let's get out there, let's make a difference, let's do something. I love that. It's really beautiful. Okay, let's just bring in now the energy of Christ, because we do have, as I say, the Vesica Pisces, and we probably need to bring Mary Magdalene in as well. Let's just see if there's any message here. Christ first. He's saying, why do you think that my he's saying something along the lines of, why do you think my disciples were all fishermen? He's taking me to his disciples being fishermen, being men who understood the energies of water, who understood being able to go out at sea and navigate boats, and were very experienced within the element of water. And he's showing me the sign of the fish. The sign of the fish was the first sign of Christianity way before the cross. And it feels as though it's a very, he's saying it's a symbol without the connotations of the cross, okay? It's a very pure symbol which he is encouraging us to bring back. He's also showing me the fish in terms of the story about, I think were they feeding a crowd, and they only had, I don't know, it was 5 fish, 10 fish, and he managed to make the amount of fish go around the whole crowd and enough to spare. So there's this thing about the abundance and the plenty within the oceans. So he's saying, even though the oceans might not be in the best format that they could be in, it's remember the ability to manifest and create alchemy, and to make a little go a long way. So there is enough for everybody is sort of the message that he's bringing through. He's also showing me a card that I've got. I know the deck. I just want to show you the card, because he wants you to see the representation of the energy. It's the Strength card, basically. It's from this deck, which is called the Oceanic Tarot. So again, a nod to water. And it shows a fishing net, basically. Let me just show you the card. You see that? Oh, I'd forgotten that there were all the fish in the card as well. Strength, okay? There is enough for all. The net can bring in plenty for all. Look at that card. But he's also saying to us to have strength at this time, okay? To have strength that can move mountains, to have strength that can bring in abundance for all. And then interestingly, beside the card of strength, just on this deck, I've got the Queen of Cups. Okay, so I feel the Queen of Cups is a nod to Mary Magdalene, who was his partner and who he loved dearly. Mary, any message here for this particular session with the people that are watching? She always shows me the same. She always shows me herself in the same way. She's always standing on a shoreline. I always see her standing on a shoreline, waiting for the boat to come back in, and waiting patiently, but waiting with complete trust and complete conviction that the boat will come back in, that the fishermen on board the boat, Christ on board the boat, will bring in the goods, as it were, you know. No part of her energy feels as though she doubts. No part of her is in panic. No part of her is wondering or having any negativity. She's just complete conviction and trust and faith in her fellow men, I'm wanting to say, you know, fellow men being men and women, but it's the analogy of the fishermen on the boat and Christ on the boat, bringing in what is needed, whatever the sea is like, whatever the emotions are like, whatever the waters are doing in our world, always knowing that the boat comes back and that everybody is accounted for. Very lovely. Okay. Nose itching always happens when that's an important point. And the rainbow. They both show me the rainbow. You know, the God's promise, the rainbow. After the waters, there is always God's promise that we will be taken care of, that there will be blessings. When Atlantis fell, the earth didn't stop spinning. Okay, the earth didn't stop spinning. We didn't really die. We came back. That's why I'm sitting here talking to you in 2019. The cycle of life, flow on. We just evolved into higher consciousness. So feeling more at peace now, when you see the waters coming in and the rains, try to see them as bringing in this vibration of new earth and love. And that, as Christ has just said, we will be brought back to the shoreline. We're not going to be, we don't need to go back into a past life memory of drowning. There will be a big enough boat. We're back to the ark type energy. There will be a big enough boat for all of us. This is symbolic language, the way I'm talking, okay? I don't see myself getting on a physical boat or you getting on a physical boat necessarily. It's about being carried through these changes and realising, the one thing I will come back to, I'm just going to finish and I'm going to ask about, is I'm going to go back to this card, which is just reminding us, remember this was our higher self, that's just reminding us that these shifts happen on our planet. You know, the planet does what it does. You've lived through them before, you'll live through them again, you might live through them again in another lifetime in the future, okay? It's what the planet does, it's what you're used to doing. We're just in a birth period, but it does say, stabilize your energy field. So let's just ask about that. How can we best stabilize our energy fields? And I do feel it's linked into the energy of earth, okay? With all this water energy, we need the vibration of earth. But water and earth can make mud, which we don't want. So it's as though we've got to create a channel through which the water can flow through us down into the earth. Let me just see where Metatron wants us to go with this. Hold on. Stabilise our energy fields. How can we best stabilise our energy fields, Metatron, for these times, for this tsunami of love that's coming in? How can we best stabilise our energy fields? Be open to it, okay? Be open to it. Open your hearts. Open your minds to all eventualities, to all timelines, to all possibilities, to all avenues of help, to all avenues of support that are there and will be there. Feel into the support from each other. And what he's showing me is a huge army of us. And it is so vast. It is, he's showing me the Red Sea that was parted for the people to pass into the Promised Land. This army is able to, is mobilised, is active. We are the army, basically. It's like we're soldiers of light. And we can change the world with this mass mobilisation of troops that are here already on Earth. And we must not fear. We must not fear. Embrace the changes. You are water. It is not foreign. You are water. We are 70% water. Love the water within your body. That's Dr Emoto. Love the water within your body. Drink plenty of water. Flush out your system with water. Cleanse, wash. All is well. Okay, I'm going to get this uploaded. I hope you enjoyed that. Much love to everybody, and I will be back soon. My next video, I probably am going to do a channeling on Dolores Cannon, and that will flow on quite nicely, won't it? Because she talked a lot about New Earth, and it's as though, you know, really is virtually here. Much love, everybody. Bye for now.